Hello, Patreon, behind the paywall. How are we? So we're going to carry on talking about the Reds this week. There may be some randomness at the end of the show, but there's still more Red stuff to get through. A busy time for the Reds, of course. And I'm going to start there, Mo, because it seems mad to me that we had the 5 games in 15 days and the absolute madness and anxiety and, tenseness of that period. And then Liverpool did brilliantly and emerged from it. Then we've got Southampton at the weekend just gone. We play Paris tomorrow, as discussed. We've got the League Cup on Sunday, which we all know about. And then that's it.
That's it. Gone. Football is over for everybody. Pack up and go home.
An international break in there as well, just for good measure.
Yeah. Now, obviously, some of you know what I'll be doing during that March international break. But it's weird, isn't it? Because the way that the season goes, you have all those 3 international breaks in 3 months. Levitation.
It's what you need.
And everyone kind of gets really annoyed about them. It's like, fucking hell, stopping all the momentum and everything. And then it allows you to forget about it for 3 or 4 blissful months. And then suddenly it's like, this thing again now? And as much as it's annoying at that point in the season in autumn and winter, it's even more annoying now because now we're at the crunch point of the season. Now is where things really start to matter. Now is where you see your players going off for internationals and you think, can you not do a little Fergie diddle? Like a little...
Twisted sock.
Exactly. So...
Dirty shorts.
So we don't get to watch football. Well, we don't get to watch Liverpool. But the players don't get to rest. So it's just almost like the worst of all worlds. But in some ways, it could be worse if we go into that break in the quarterfinals of the Champions League and with the trophy and another one pretty much all guaranteed. Then that will probably be a very nice break. Very nice, relaxing. You know what? These boys are really going to have a proper season here. We can already say by that point that this is going to be a seasonable season. Still, wish it wasn't a break. Though.
I know. It's just weird, isn't it? It's like weird how it's organised, and it's weird that you're crowbarring so much football in and continuing with that trend. And I mean, not that I feel sorry for them, but City and basically haven't got a summer off. And I believe, by the way, that all the City stuff is coming very soon.
Yes.
Still, no one seems to know exactly how it's going to go, but it is coming.
I do think that if there was a good time to get a bad result from that, it's when Liverpool do real well and City are doing terribly. I will just say that now.
They've got to do something, surely. If there's no sanction whatsoever, then where do we all go from there? Do you know what I mean? So, to me, it's got to be something. There's got to be something, or otherwise it's just like, and surely even City can see that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I mean, I don't think anyone other than Stu Wright is going to be holding their breath, but for now, we'll have to wait.
With the Stu Wright theory, yeah. Well, yeah, so the League Cup final then. Well, no, actually, hang on, before we do that. So, yeah, the Champions League stages as well. I mean, I'm trying not to count chickens here because we've no idea what's going to happen around PSG, and I appreciate not everyone will even have watched this show probably by the time they've, you know what I mean? You're probably watching it after PSG, but I haven't got my crystal ball. But, yeah, so what we know of our schedule is that we've got, after post Newcastle, we've got Everton at home on the 2nd of April, Fulham away on the 6th, West Ham at home on the 13th, Leicester away on the 20th, Tottenham at home on the 27th, Chelsea away on the 3rd of May, Arsenal at home on the 10th, Brighton away on the 18th, and then we conclude at Anfield on the 25th of May, the anniversary of Istanbul, with Crystal Palace at home. Obviously, we could have, should have, hope we have Champions League games in there. And then we sort of know, and this is why I'm doing this roundabout way of getting here, that all got mentioned in the press conference as well, didn't it? Because he was talking about, well, we know that if we should, if we do progress, it's going to be Villa or Bruges, probably Villa. We know that we could see Arsenal there. We know that beyond that, if we keep going at Madrid, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So just what's your thoughts on that? Like, how do you see it panning out, and then we'll do the League Cup.
So, one thing that came from the press conferences today, Luis Enrique said, "Whoever wins this tie will get to the final," which sounds like a bold claim when you mention all the teams that are in. They would have to get through Aston Villa, potentially Arsenal, unlikely Arsenal, more likely one of the Madrid teams in the semi-final. But I also understand why he said that, because Liverpool and PSG have been two of the best teams in Europe this season.
Yeah, Robbo said, didn't he, but like best side we faced. And I don't think anyone's arguing with that.
Slot's mentioned that pretty much every time he's been asked. Yeah. He said that they're the best team. And I don't think he's just paying them lip service. It's the way that like Jurgen sometimes used to say, "Oh, this team who are bottom of the league, you may think they're bottom of the league, but they're really good." No, I don't think it was one of them numbers. I think they really believed it. So, it's funny because whenever there's a potential for Liverpool to play an English team in Europe, I always just think we'll win, because with one exception, we always have one. There was the one against Chelsea, 2008, where they beat us. But we'd already beaten them twice by that point. So I just think that as annoying as those kind of ties are, I do think that we know how to navigate them. And then if you look at the two games with Villa this season, we were clearly the better team at home. Probably did enough to win away, but they also played well.
You beat them over two legs.
You'd like to think with Liverpool beat them over two legs because, and this is another thing, Villa are right in the fight to qualify for the Champions League next season. So every single league game matters massively to them. We maybe by that point may not be in that same situation. And
there's sort of a thing, I think, in like the collective mindset type of thing. So like what I'm saying is like Villa. And I'm not, I probably sound like I'm patting them on the head, but I'm not meaning to sound like it. But like, they'll sort of be happy with getting that far.
Oh, yeah.
If you'd said at the start of the season, you'll get through the league stage, you get, you'll progress again, and then you're knocked out to Liverpool.
Quarterfinals. I mean, let's not forget they're still in the FA Cup. Like, they are second favourites to win the FA Cup. Yeah. And personally, I think they're favourites. I think City are probably going to get knocked out by Bournemouth. And then Villa are going to beat Preston, and then they're going to find themselves in the semi-final of the FA Cup. And let's not forget, Villa haven't won a trophy since 1996. So they absolutely would be taking the FA Cup super seriously. And I believe that the next round of the FA Cup comes around the same time as that Champions League quarter-final. So there might be three things that they're trying to juggle at that point. And as good a team they are and as good a squad that they have, I do think that there will come a point where trying to think about all of those things will stretch them. It does sound like we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
I know. It's just a really difficult conversation to have. I mean, this is the bonus, or not the bonus, this is the downside of us not having a studio and loads of time to devote, and Newcastle are playing like now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like really hard to talk about it sitting here on a Monday night. So sorry everyone, bear with us basically. But yeah, those stages in the Champions League as well, should Liverpool progress, or maybe they have, or maybe they haven't by the time you listen. Soz, my head's getting slowly more and more blown as this particular show's going on. But the quarterfinals are 8th and 9th of April, and the 15th, 16th. Semi-finals April the 29th and 30th, and May the 6th, 7th, and the final is May the 31st in Munich. Maybe we just stop. I mean, like. Just let's just do a bit on the League Cup final, because we know that's definitely happening. Yeah. And then let's move on, because it's blowing my mind now. So we don't know if Newcastle pick up any more injuries or play well or shit tonight. So let's just forget that.
Well, Isak's playing.
Gordon's out of the final. We know
Gordon's
that.
out of the final. Yeah. So you could make a strong argument to say that two of their best 5 players are missing, because Gordon's missing and Lewis Hall's missing. and I think Lewis Hall was probably their best defender this season. And I thought he actually played really well against Salah, even though he could have given away a penalty in the first minute in the league game. So he's going to be a massive miss for them. Obviously, Isak makes a massive difference if he is or isn't in. I think the fact that he's starting this game makes me think that unless something goes wrong for him in this game, he will start again.
Yeah, well, I was asked about that, wasn't he? And he said I would rather players that I think can play on Sunday do play tonight.
Yeah,
because I want them to have the minutes, I want them to have the sharpness and all the rest of it.
Makes sense.
So it makes sense. So if we take him at his word there, they've lined up tonight with Pope, Trippier, Shaw, Byrne, Livramento, Gameres, Tonali, Joe Linton, Jacob Murphy, Isak, and Barnes.
I would be surprised if that wasn't the team on Sunday. So obviously Joe Willock has got a chance. Lewis Miley has got a chance. But that of their current resources, the team playing right now is their best team. What I would say is that if it goes longer than 90 minutes, then advantage Liverpool, because outside of Miley and Willock, their bench doesn't look massively strong.
And Trippier's 34.
Yeah. We've spoken about Callum Wilson and how we rate him as a player, but he's currently in a bad run. Matt Target, probably beyond his usefulness as a footballer in terms of the top level. Sean Longstaff maybe can run around a bit. Emil Kraft, the same. But I do think that if they're going to win it, they're going to have to win it with the players that they've got. And yeah, they've got some time to play. Like,
I feel like it'll be a game. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to say I fancy us because I'm biased. I'm a Red. I've watched us all season and all the rest of it. But equally, I do. Like, I'll go back and say it again. I've said it before, but I was like really impressed by, how the fans were against Arsenal. Like, it was tremendous. That it was boss, just a boss footy moment, regardless of who you support. And like, there's a kind of thing that, I like Newcastle, I like the city, I like the people. I recently had a good time there. And ask me in person. And I kind of do want them to win something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like Geordies. Like, I'm like, just not this one, lad. Soz.
No, and again, it becomes a bit one of those things where you kind of wish that they were still in the FA Cup, because that would have been perfect for them to be able to say, okay, well, we've not got this one, but we've still got the other one to go. So they've got to put all of their eggs in this basket, which ironically probably helps Liverpool, because not only have you got the weight of history of 60 odd years since they won a trophy, now it's like, well, we've only got this one chance. We thought we could have two chances. Now we've only got one. And again, they're trying to get into the Champions League. So there's an argument that they could say, well, if we lose this final but get into the top 5, then we can still call it a successful season, and they probably will. But to be in a final again and lose again, because I think this would be if they do lose it will be their 5th final that they've been in a row and not lost. I know they had the 2 back-to-back FA Cup finals in the end of the 90s. And then there was obviously the League Cup final 2 years ago against United. I think there was another final before that they lost. So you get to that point where it's like, getting to finals is great, but losing finals is awful. Like, how many times have Liverpool lost a final and you've remembered it? I think I can only think of one. And that was because we won that same final the year after in Madrid. Like, all other times we lost a final, it's been shit. You don't go, well.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not a good moment. It's definitely not a good time. The worst one for me has still got to be, Manchester United. White suits.
Yeah.
Eric Cantona.
The wormhole. That shot went through the wormhole and somehow ended up in the back of the net. Oh, God, yes.
And I can also confirm that going to Ukraine and losing is not fun either. No. Especially when it was on a fucking minibus. There and back. So that was no fun whatsoever. So, I mean, we sort out the Newcastle side there. I mean, there's some quality in it, obviously. Isak, Tonali, Gameres in particular. I think that, you know, they come out sort of guns blazing. We talked about being emotionally charged before when we were talking about Arteta. It feels like they very much will be emotionally charged for this because it's a final. As you say, there's the weight of history. There's last year getting to a final, not doing it. You know, you will feel, and I feel like I've seen some of their players say this as well, like, you know, we feel like, you know, we let down the fans last time. We don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
But sorry, lads, Liverpool are no mugs, though. You know what I mean?
I just think that Liverpool as a club have been in this situation quite a few times.
Yeah.
Like,
including a lot of these players. And we're literally the holders.
Oh, well, exactly. So we know what it's like to win finals. But not only that, but we're going into a game in a final against a team who haven't won in a while, who probably weren't expecting to be in the final at the start of the season. So obviously, I think like Cardiff, when we played them in the League Cup final, Birmingham, we played them in the League Cup final, Alaves in the UEFA Cup final. There's been quite a few times where Liverpool have gone in heavy favourites and you think, oh, is there a bit of peril in there? No, Liverpool sometimes make it more difficult than they need to, but Liverpool get the job done. And I feel like this is going to be another one of those times.
Some of those are mad, by the way, and you're bringing back all kinds of memories of that Birmingham one in the League Cup 2001 where Fowler scored that belter.
Yeah.
And
then we gave away that dumbass penalty towards the end of the game.
Yeah, it was like that one. That was the one where Carragher took a pen, wasn't it? And like big mad run up. It was like, oh, and then he absolutely nailed it, to be fair. So absolutely fair play. Yeah. Newcastle have reached the League Cup final twice, finishing runners-up both times, 1976 and 2023. Yeah, there is this like sort of weird thing around them in finals. I'm not sure how much that does or doesn't play into it. But that's probably what Mo said, isn't it? It's you know, we've got the muscle memory around it and they haven't. I'm not sure how much more than what we've done we can do, given they are playing and then we're playing the next night.
Yeah, I think that's also the thing. Like, you talked about them making a fast start. I think they will hope that we have expended a lot of emotional and physical energy in this game tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that they can maybe hit us and maybe try to take advantage of that, win a few duels. Joe Linton's going to throw himself around, as is his want.
It's 5 days, though, isn't it? We've got like 5 days to recover.
And it's only 24 hours more better off than they are because they're literally playing now, aren't they? So,
yeah. And we're at home and all that, and so they all get to kip in their own beds and all that good stuff. Yeah, I think we'll be all right.
But also,
I
think, yeah. So yeah, this was going to be the only other thing we're going to do on it. It's like an appeal to those of you out there. If you happen to know someone who could potentially find a way of finding me a ticket for that game, I'll be very grateful.
Yeah, me too. I'll give them all a lift.
Well, this is the thing. I'm already going to be in London. So the day before, the Saturday before, it's my brother-in-law's birthday. So I'm going to stay with my sister in Woolwich. So I'll be with them on Saturday night. And at the moment, I'm watching the final with them. And I mean, I love my sister and I love my brother-in-law, but I'd rather not be watching the final with them because they're both Leeds United fans. So, you know, there's that. But
I don't even know what I'm doing. Like you know, there's like where I'm going to watch it, how it's going to work. Just don't know. And like also, like I'm starting to like really quickly at the minute, like just not be into alcohol. I'm just like seriously considering knocking on the head, at least for like a decent period of time.
I know plenty of people who've done it and not regretted it.
Yeah, because I saw someone that I used to work with, and they put up on his Facebook that he'd been alcohol free for 19 years.
Wow.
I know. And that sort of resonated a little bit. And also, I saw somewhere, where does he? It was people were talking about. It was when people were talking about Jack Grealish, and someone mentioned Wenger, and apparently he just used to say to the players, like, you know, you are literally putting poison into yourself. And yeah, so that's a nice cheery thing. But the only reason I mention that is because it's on a Sunday, and it's like, you know, I don't really want to like have a massively boozy one on the Sunday. Then I'm on the overlap on the Monday and I'm doing this on the Monday, and it just becomes like you just do not function as well, do you? Let's be honest.
No, and again, it's one of those where you need to be able to be in a situation where you can enjoy yourself and you can celebrate this wonderful thing happening without feeling like that has to be a part of it. You
Yeah,
want
that as well.
Yeah.
The Bob Paisley cup of tea type
Yeah,
situation.
absolutely. And I mean, for me, obviously, from doing more journalistic stuff, that is one thing that has changed. Like, I don't go to the pub on the day of matches anymore because, like, I don't want to go into the press room thinking of booze.
Yeah.
So I've kind of got used to appreciating the football on a different level. And yeah, there's definitely something to be said for being able to go there. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there are still great times to be had if you do want to go down that route. But I don't think it's one of those things where you say it has to be that way. I don't think so. Like, I'd be in a similar situation if I was going to game. Like, I'm literally getting on a plane at 8 o'clock the next morning. So I probably shouldn't be hungover when I'm trying to navigate my way through Heathrow Airport. So I think that the game, the excitement, if you're with the right people and get the right result, that should be enough.
Yeah. I might give it a whirl. I'll let you know how we get on. And yeah, just one more thing on Newcastle. Last major trophy, I'm sure you know this, is Newcastle. Last major trophy Newcastle won was in 1955 when they lifted the FA Cup, beating Manchester City. Around 100,000 fans were said to have watched it at the old Wembley, where Jackie Milburn opened the scoring in the first minute. Okay, we'll move on, and we'll move on to something random. Let's look at my random list. I've got Mo in the press box etiquette. That was going to be, we already mentioned that on the other show, but it was going to be because lots of people mentioned that there's videos kicking about of Steve Hunter doing the commentary of a goal and you being just behind him, behaving yourself. Have you had any, like, have you seen anyone else go? You know what I mean? Have you seen, like, and have you witnessed the tisks and the tuts when...
So at Villa Park, actually, a couple of people outed themselves as Villa fans, who I didn't realise were Villa fans from the press back. I won't name names, but there are national journalists, one of whom in particular, I'm sure most people have read at some point in the future, in the past. And I was a bit like, oh, okay. And they were very much like chatting to each other and just kind of being like, I can't believe this. It's like how are this team so good? And rah, 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 and just really kind of being very much partisan about it. And I was just a bit taken aback. Obviously, there's a difference between being a written journalist and being someone who does it over commentary. Because if you're talking to the world, then you have to be a little bit more restrained. And they weren't. But no, for the most part, I feel like it's been all right. So Steve and Neil, it's funny because a lot of the time when they score a goal...
You, Steve and Neil? Steve Hunter and Neil Mellor.
Yeah. The lads. But no, a lot of the time when we score, they will like Steve will give me a fist bump or like I'll go, yeah. And that was the one time that he didn't do it. And so it's made me look like I'm a real professional. It's funny because it is difficult. Like, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, it is difficult. And there's been times when it's been harder than others. So the derby, for example, that one was there was like a moment when Salah scored when we took the lead, like my arm literally just went like that before I had a chance to stop it. I was just like, but luckily all the Evertonians were sitting in front of me, so no one saw me. But yeah, that was literally just an involuntary movement because you're in the belly of the beast, and you know how much that game. We talked about the fact that we like the rivalry, we don't care about them in general. When you're playing at Goodison, you care. It matters. Yeah. So that part I still haven't cracked, but also this is a part of me thinking about the future of my career. So there's going to come a point in the future where I'm probably not going to be only covering Liverpool. I'm going to be maybe covering other teams and stuff like that. And I want people to think of me as a serious journalist first rather than a Liverpool fan who covers football, because obviously that makes me more employable. So mentally, I'm going to have to get to a place at some point where I can be dispassionate about Liverpool. But there's a part of me that's sad about that.
It is weird. I found it weird when I used to be in there, and there was definitely times I didn't manage it, like, and Pretty sure I was pretty much rolling down the steps when David Ingo scored against Man United and Pepe Reina ran the length of the pitch to celebrate with him. Yeah, I didn't stick to the etiquette for that one. And I do remember, tusks and looks and all the rest of it. And I just thought, fuck off. Not really arse, lads. It is a strange one. It is a weird one because they're all football fans, and they wouldn't be there.
No,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's just sort of like some of them go to great lengths to sort of hide who they support and never admit it and never do things. And then others are just more honest and upfront, and I kind of prefer that. I just think it's funny when you have like people who just like, just don't give a fuck, basically. Like, so if you're a co-commentator or things like that, then it doesn't matter as much anyway, does it? But it's just like, I'm thinking of someone like Aldo as an example. So like, me and my mates have always like loved listening to him, going back to the old Radio City days, him and Hodders all was fucking brilliant. Like, because Steve's brilliant anyway.
Yeah, he is.
But just having John as a sidekick really, really worked, I thought. But like, we still do impressions when we've had a bevy of Aldo, because it just, like, obviously Steve would say something great that captured the moment or whatever, and at the same time he'd just get John go, whoa! Just doing this like mad guttural roar. Yeah. But I love them for it, you know what I mean?
Like, I've had the pleasure of doing a few games with Aldo as well, and he's still the same. Like he lives and breathes every second, and that's the thing. Like, if you're a former player, and you've been through it, you know it all. And again, they're probably doing the same thing that we're doing in terms of trying to think about, well, I'm a different profession now, so you've got to be different. You've got to approach it differently. No, he couldn't, even if he wanted to. And he's just made that part of who he is. And yeah, like, you can feel what's happening when you're sitting next to him before you can hear and see what's happening, because he will literally, like, there were a couple of times where he literally just grabbed my shoulder out of nowhere. I was just like, oh, bloody hell. like when someone messed up a cross or something, like, yeah, I can understand how he would have been an insane manager. Like, obviously, because he managed Tranmere and Sociedad. Like, I could just imagine the play.
I interviewed him. I went to Tranmere a few times when he was the manager, and I used to interview him in this like tiny like broom cupboard, compared to like press facilities in the Premier League. Like, and it took no fucking business. Like, it's fair to say. I mean, I used to go over and watch him when he played for Tranmere as well, and I really enjoyed those days. Like, and there's something in this which does actually link me well. It's been a bit of a mad show, this, I feel, but it feels like we had a plan now. Meeting your heroes was down. So Aldo might not have been a hero as such, although I'm one of the few Reds who see, I thought he was good.
Yeah, I love him.
There's some Reds who like, compared to X or Y, forget the compared to X or Y. He was sound.
He was at the forefront when I became a fan. So my first year as a Liverpool fan was when Ian Rush was in Juventus. And so it was about him, it was about Barnes, it was about Beardsley.
Aldo, yeah.
And it's mad to talk about heroes. Like, I've met all three of those now, although Beardsley was at Everton, and obviously he left to go to Everton, and that broke my heart. Although, I say it broke my heart, it just really annoyed me, Graham. What are you doing, lad?
I know.
But I've now, like, I can say that I've got a genuine personal relationship with John Barnes. Like, literally texted me the other day just to say hello, which it's still weird. I'm not gonna lie, it's still weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Well, this is why I put it on here, because it is weird. I think it is weird. So
but he, and I've spoken about this loads of times, but like, he's literally the reason I'm here. He was the origin story of me and Liverpool, the club, which became me and Liverpool, the city, and basically my whole career. And yeah, it's just like to have a kind of a relationship where I can talk about him just as a human, like, and detach all of that narrative from it and just be like, it's just a sound fella. Like, that's the coolest part of all of this is that you do get to see, and I mean, sometimes it goes other ways. There are some people, I'm not going to name names, but there are some people who I liked as a footballer who I've since met and have been a bit like, oh, that's a shame. But that's just a part of life. They're all humans.
It is weird, but equally, I think you get over it, or certainly I have. Like, so what I mean by that is, I think doing that type of work over time, you just start to realise that everyone's just a human. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I can remember meeting John Barnes as a teenager and being so starstruck that I couldn't fucking speak. Do you know what I mean? So he was like signing these like Diodora posters in a sports shop on Bold Street. Can't remember what it was called actually. It's gone now. Like, and so I got in the queue and all that. And all I remember about it really is I remember he had a blue suit on, and I remember some like Aldar Scouser in front of me who was queuing up. Was like, bloody hell, John Blue, what are you doing with, and all that, Nothing changes.
Couldn't let it lie.
When then it got to me, and like, I was just like, I felt like I was just like proper staring, and I'm going, in my head, like going, fucking John Barnes. You know what I mean? And like, nothing was coming out, and he sort of like saying, who do you want it to? Type
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And like, eventually, like, managed to get my name out, and that was it. He signed it, done, gone, and that was it. And then I met him another time this is like presumably pre-rap. It would have been. I was older then, but I can't remember the point in my life because of my failing memory. But what I remember about it is I'd been in the club shop and I'd bought some stuff, and one of the things I bought was like a photograph or like a team picture, basically. And I literally had that in a bag, and I was walking through the middle of town, and there was John Barnes. And I was like, bloody hell. And he was with some of his kids. And it was dead funny because, like, John Barnes, like this, like, Liverpool legend, hero, the fella who scored all these amazing goals, went to Brazil and skinned the Brazilians, whatever. And he's just there being chastised by his kids. And he's just there. And he's like, I haven't got any money. And then I'm there going, John, can you sign this? And like, he was like, yeah, no problem. Like, sign that, and they carried on having it, whatever was going on with his kids. And then I met him a third time, and then that was like rap days. And so by then, I thought, because in general, if I go and like have to interview a player, manager, or whatever, my point is, I'm not bothered.
No,
I'm just like, it's just a fella.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when I still met Barnes for the first time in like proper adulthood, when I've been doing all this stuff for years, I still went all fucking, it's John Barnes. But I eventually did some content with him and stuff like that, and he was sound, and like, so I've met him a few times now, and I'm all right now. I'm over it. Okay. I think I'm sound with it now. Do you know what I mean? And like, I think I mentioned on here before, like, I messaged him around like a big birthday for one of my mates who'd been having a bit of a shit time at that particular time. And I thought I'd just chance my arm, and he was absolutely sound.
Yeah.
Came back, did a little video for me mate, and it was dead funny. Can't properly tell you everything that was in it because it's not for public consumption. but it was boss, and I just thought, great fella.
Yeah.
Basically, and I was like, I made up that me heroes sound.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things where you're aware that these people are humans, and you're aware that all of the kind of narrative that you've put into them, they haven't really wanted any of that stuff. They just wanted to go out there and play football. It's what I always say whenever people talk about footballers as role models. It's like, that wasn't what they signed up for. They signed up to play football, and we've put all this on top of them. But having said all of that, it is nice to when you meet them and you're just like, okay, yeah, you're just a sound fella.
Well, I did like live shows with Barnes and with Aldridge, and like, there's obviously lots of room for both of those to go wrong. You're in a boozer with a load of people having bevies, and like, you're just there to sort of lead them along the way, point them, and having a bit of an agenda and all that. Both sound, both brilliant. Aldo like was like genuinely like dead sound as well. He was saying like, you've done your prep there, lad. It was good, that, and all this. Barnes was like, you know, an absolute pro at all. He definitely does it a lot. You can tell some of the stuff that he said on that night I've seen is now since sort of entered the public domain, and it wasn't just on that night. So he did. It might be out there if you just Google it. He was talking about. Obviously, he always gets asked about World in Motion.
Yeah.
And then he'll do it. You know what I mean? He throws it in. But what was different was that he didn't just throw it in this time. He was like, so I've got something here on my phone. And he's like, and you know, not too many people have heard it.
I mean, they have now, but yeah.
They have now, but they hadn't at that point, and it was Beardsley. And it's fair to say Beardsley, shock horror, can't sing.
Like, there's a reason that they made it John do it. Because, like, there's a Beardsley, he's got Gazza's doing it as well.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And, yeah, it's one. So, for all that I've said we've got a personal relationship and friends, what have you, the one thing I haven't been able to have with him is the conversation where I sit him down and be like, can we retire that song now, mate? Can we knock that on the head? Like, I want people to remember you as a really good footballer. I don't want people to think that that's your thing. And we're getting close to the being a generation of people who think about that when they think of you, rather than think about you dancing around defenders, bending free kicks into the top corner, and making footballers look stupid. Like, I want everybody to have that as their core John Barnes memory. Maybe I'm just a bit selfish. I don't know. But yeah, we haven't had that conversation yet.
What I liked as well, though, is like, you know, obviously, like, it is a privilege, it is boss to do this kind of work where, you know, you are getting those opportunities that loads of people won't ever have. And I think I may have mentioned this on shows before, but I'll just throw it in just to say that sometimes you'll get one somewhere where, you know, you remember they're a human for a different reason, if you like. So, you know, like, through being a football fan, there'll be characters, people, players, managers, whatever, that you don't like. You know what I mean? Because you've got them down in your head as the enemy.
Yes.
Like, you know, we were talking about something earlier when we were talking about Duncan Ferguson off air and saying, like, I find it impossible to dislike that fella now.
Me too.
I just think he's boss. I think he's funny. I think he's sound. I'm getting cramp. And, you know, he's one example, and to the point now where, you know, I'd love to have a pint with Duncan Ferguson.
Me too.
Because he seems absolutely sound. So I had one of them once where it was at university. So I went to Sheffield and studied journalism, and then you got to a point where, like, you had to create a portfolio and be as creative or not as you wanted to be, and everyone's sort of competing with each other, and it's a little bit like the real world type of a thing. And so I was like, okay, I know I want to do something footy related, so I'm going to write to the clubs and see what I can get, blah, 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 blah. So I wrote to Sheffield United, and I said I wanted to do something with Don Hutchinson because he was there at the time. And to my surprise, he said, yeah. So I was like, oh, great. Like, so I'd come all like geared up and all that, ready to speak to Don Hutchinson. And I get to the ground, Bramall Lane, and he said, yeah, we've changed our minds. Andy Pack, I think his name was. Andy Pack, the press officer, isn't sure about this as an idea now, and so we're going to do something else for you instead. And so I'm like, and this is off the cuff, leaving me with no prep for whoever the new person is. And so I'm like disappointed and thinking, this is going to be shit now. And like, blah, I had all these plans, it's going to be really good, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, what's happening now? And he's like, you can have some time with the manager, Howard Kendall at the time.
Oh, shit.
So it was like, okay.
All right, yeah.
So I go up to the manager's office, bearing in mind I'm at uni and I'm a kid. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's amazing. And go in, sit down. He had this like mad Hawaiian shirt on. I remember that. But what I genuinely remember is he was absolutely sound. Yeah. Genuinely like a lovely boss bloke. And like straight away, like I started talking, saying who I was, blah, 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 blah. He knew about the build up and that I was meant to be doing Don, and now I'd ended up with him. And he went, because he said, where are you from and all that, whereabouts are you from? From Aiton. And he goes, And you'd have read then, yeah. And I went, yeah. And he went, yeah, I thought so much. He was like, sorry for the disappointment that, you've got me. He was like, I bet you hate me, don't you? And I was like, no. But then he was absolutely sound, honestly. He was like, ask whatever you want. But he was also asking me loads. He was like, what's the plan? Are you looking to go into radio or print or whatever? Just giving me loads of his time. Dead genuine fella. Boss interview. Made up with it. And I came away from it thinking, well, I never thought I'd be like Kendall's sound. But Kendall was sound.
And it's funny, actually, because from a distance... and with the ability to kind of be a bit more adult about situation and time, you can see him being the sound fella. Like you can almost sense that's not a massive surprise to me that he turned out to be sound. Just the way he is and the way he was. He was never one of those who was like spiteful or just like, antagonistic for no reason. He was very respectful, obviously, around some of the worst times in the city's history. Definitely, and saw
that when he passed away, didn't you? About how everyone came out, everywhere you turn, there was like tributes for him, including from Liverpool,
exactly,
etc. So I mean, the reason I even put this on the agenda, by the way, was the thing that sort of formed the idea of let's have a chat about Meet Your Heroes was, well, I was going to say a lesser known hero, but no. People do know who Andy Bell is.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Because he was in Oasis.
For about that long, he was in Oasis.
But I know him because he was in Ride.
Yes.
And Ride was the first band I saw live. Sorry for everyone for more Ride content. But anyway, he did a little gig in Liverpool on Thursday, and so I got to meet him, got him to sign the record, got a little picture with him, had a little chat with him, and I thought, I'm not going to do the Oasis chat because everyone's doing the Oasis chat. So I was like, I'm not going to ask him anything about Oasis. So I did all the stuff, showing him my ticket from Ride from 33 years ago.
Fucking ticket. I knew you were going to show him the fucking ticket.
Yes, and he got his bins on to have a proper look, and he was like, I love it, that's boss. He said, I love blah, blah. And then we had a chat, and he said, I think we actually played Liverpool before that gig at the Royal Court that you went to. He said, we played the Lomax. I said, oh, really? Didn't know that, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Had a little chat, great, boss, sound fella. Met one of my heroes, he was sound, get in. But my little question for him, for Ride and Charlatans fans out there, I'm sure there's so many listening and watching, is once upon a time, a long, long time ago, Ride and Charlatans co-toured, co-headlined a tour. Well, it wasn't even a tour. They just did Brighton and Blackpool, and like the picture for the gig was like a big piece of rock, and it had like Ride and the Charlatans around the end of the rock. And I was supposed to go to Blackpool, and I can't actually remember the reason why now because it's so long ago, 30 odd years. Possibly something to do with school, college, etc. Probably was. Anyway, I didn't go, and I was gutted because they were two of my favourite bands, and their mates.
Yeah,
Ride and the Charlatans are mates, and they've recreated that, even used the artwork and everything in America repeatedly a few times now, and I'm watching from afar going, lads, yous are doing that because yous are mates, and it's like a nice little trip in America. I'm onto you. So that was my question. I was like, Andy, Day Tripper, are you going to recreate it here though?
Yeah.
And he went, yeah. I was like, get it. And he's like, it won't be. He said it won't be like an anniversary thing or anything like that. I said, sort of can't be bothered with that. He said, but we will do it. I was like, get in. And then like my mate went after me and got his record signed. And the fucking bastard went to him, you don't know how happy you've just made him. He's like, because he's a proper Ride geek.
I mean, he needs.
Cheers, Johnny.
Like, the thing is, right, I've found this out from doing this kind of similar thing with musicians who I've loved. They like it when you tell them that you are really, really obsessed with their music. Like, not the people. No one wants to be obsessed with the people. But when you have an appreciation for their music, it's great. Honestly, like, that's kind of what they're doing it for. Oh, so obviously we mentioned last week about the gig that I was going to, the White Denim gig. And it was fantastic. It was so good. They played 2 hours and it got to a point where there was 15 minutes left and they were like, listen, we want to play as many songs as we can for you guys, but we've only got 15 minutes left. So what we're going to do is we're going to play them quicker. And they did. They just started playing the songs faster. And it was like, you know what? The ability to be able to do that is just so underrated. And I managed to speak to James and Matt and Kat after the gig as well. And again, just really having an appreciation for like, you know what? I really love you guys and I really appreciate it because it was like the 10th time I've been to see them. And they've had different lineups through different times. And yeah, so it's difficult for them to tour because at the moment, like James lives in California, Kat lives in Texas, Matt lives in Atlanta, another one of them lives in New Jersey. And then they just form from all different parts of America to go off on a tour. And they've been doing this tour for like, I think it's 2 weeks they're doing a tour for. And you just think, wow, like for you guys, as much fun as it is to do the show, it must be graft. Doing that, like packing up your whole life and going off on tour and you're not sure what it's going to be like from night to night and who's going to be there, what's going to be there. And you've got your merch stand and you're thinking, okay, well, hopefully we're going to sell some T-shirts, we're going to sell some records and all that kind of stuff. And you're thinking about the bottom line of it all.
Yeah, jet lag, travel, hotels.
And all of that.
Yeah.
But then you get to chat to people who say, man, I love your music. I love that thing that you did. I love that thing that you did. And for me to be able to talk to them about it, particularly the new members of the band and talk to them about how much, like, I've heard these songs loads of times, but when you do it, you put something new into it, you put something exciting into it. And they were just so appreciative, genuinely appreciative that people were buzzing off what they were doing. And again, I think if you strip it back, they are humans and they want to be appreciated for their work just like we do. And so being able to get the opportunity to say to them, that was boss, I loved it. Let's do it again, shall we? Can't beat it.
100%. We've had various feedback about all the shows since we started, since it was me and Mo on the regular. And yeah, some has bordered from the passive aggressive to the positive. And so thanks Justin Ling who tweeted earlier. If there's any music chat on the subscriber show, recommendations going forward, he gave a thumb. He said, I had a lovely walk with the dog today and I listened to Water Pistol by Shaq. Boss album, cheers, lads. That makes me incredibly warm inside because that's a wonderful album and I'm glad, because of us talking about it, that you listen to it. So is right, Justin. And I'm sure we'll throw out more recommendations as time goes on. So we've still got some time. Would you like to talk about, Mo, crisps? Or would you like to try on this for size, as Alan Dodd said? And then this is one of those like challengey things. What would you like?
Well, to be honest, you know very well I'm bloody starving. So talking about crisps might be dangerous.
Do you want to try the challengey thing then?
Yeah, let's do the challengey thing.
Right. So this... I think that there's someone I can see in the comments who might have a go with this as well. So this is what Alan said. This is Alan Slammer on Twitter. He says, you're building a squad of 18 players. You have to pick 5 from 85, 95, 95, 05, 05, 15, and 3 from 15 to 25 Liverpool players. This is.
Yeah. See... already I've got an issue with this. Because why do we only get 3 from the current? Why can't we get 5? Why can't we have a squad of 20?
These are the rules. This is Alan's rules.
Bloody hell, Alan.
So Alan's his squad on those rules, on that basis, is Kenny, Barnes, Hansen, McMahon, Beardsley, Fowler, Stevie, Owen, Berger, Sammy, Suarez, Torres, Xabi Alonso, Mascherano, Pepe Reina, Mo, Virgil, Alisson.
Right, so he's
my first question would be, hang on, what? Oh no, he's gone, hasn't he? I was going to say, where's Souness? But he's gone. 84. He left after 84.
Yeah.
So he's not,
So,
okay, that's the answer to that.
My question is, who's playing fullback? Because he's got none. Like, fair enough. Like, I know it's easy to go with the strikers, but like you've got Kenny, Barnes, Beardsley, Fowler,
story, this.
Owen, Suarez, Torres, Mo. They're all attackers, and only 3 of them can play at once, and he's picked 9 of them. So that would be my first quibble.
The lad who I thought might chip in the comments said, what formation is he playing?
10.
I mean, I like it. I'd go and watch them.
Yeah, I mean, it does go to show that the most the people who stand out from each era tend to be the forwards.
Well, let's see. So what's he done here? Well, I mean, like, out of his squad, you'd have Alisson in goal, wouldn't you? Obviously,
yeah.
And then you'd have, what?
So the modern three,
he's got Hansen and Virgil as your fullback, as your centre halves. Fullbacks. You could play Gerrard.
I was going to say Gerrard's playing right back here, isn't he?
Left back. Berger.
You've got no
tackling that lad.
Right.
There's no left back, lad.
Bit of an issue there.
So yeah, I mean, this is descending into chaos as well. I mean, how are we going to do ours on the bit? I mean, we'll just critique yours. So who would you, if you're throwing a full back in? Well, we need a left back, so let's find a left back. Who are you throwing in?
Well, see, this is the problem.
And then you've got to drop someone then.
Yeah, this is the problem I have with only being free from the modern era, because I would definitely put Robbo in there, but I'm not dropping Mo, Virgil, or Alisson. You could maybe do a diddle where you could have Steve Nicol playing left back.
You can jib Berger. In fact, you can jib Michael Owen because he's a knob and he went to United.
Well,
and he's boring and weird.
Yeah,
and he plays weird games where he throws an apple into a bin and talks about it on a podcast.
Yeah, there's lots about the world of Michael Owen off the pitch. And
yeah, I agree. Man in comments is exactly what I was going to say. He said, and then crowbar Nicol in somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think so. He could play both sides if you. But
really mind you, Owen's what? Owen's the 95 to 05 era.
So I mean, of the, as much as I hate to do it, if you're gonna have Nicol in for the 85-95, of those 5, it's gonna either be McMahon or Beardsley. You lose, because if you're looking in the rest of it, you've still got Xabi and Mascherano and Stevie who can play the centre mid, and I guess Mascherano would be the McMahon replacement, which is a shame, but I think Nicol is probably going to be more valuable in that team. So I'd have Stevie Nicol.
Yeah, it's got to. So I was thinking, is there a diddle where he's sneaking into the second category, but his last game was 94?
Yeah.
So he doesn't sneak into the second category, so you've got to drop him from the first.
I mean, the other thing, and I know that we literally just said we've got loads of forwards. He's not picked Ian Rush. Like, that's a choice.
Oh wow. Mate, it's late. Like, we did these shows later this week because of, the press conference and everything else, and my head's gone.
So I think
we'll have to do crisps.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can kind of make peace with most of the others. Again, like I would also probably want to have McManaman in there over Berger.
Yeah, I liked Berger, but he was. I don't think. I think where you pick. Yeah, I don't think he's in it.
No,
I don't think he's in it. He had a boss shot. Not so sure about the winning the ball back type side of his game. I used to have a really weird argument with one of my mates, and like I genuinely don't think it's still his opinion now, but it definitely was then. And he didn't like Berger, but he did like, bizarrely, Leonardson. And I'm like, lad, I just don't understand the logic here.
No,
Leonardson was shit.
Like you can't. There's no getting around it. Like if we were gonna do the worst 18 players for those eras, then Leonardson's in with a shout.
Yeah,
absolutely. But no, no. Burger
What
was
about a shit 11? Juve up front.
Juve up front, potentially on his own.
Arfex head in goal.
Well, no, Peggy was all right. Like,
Oh no, there's worse than Baggy.
yeah, Brad Jones.
Yeah, or what was the other fella with the red hair that we got from Bolton? Did we get him from?
Oh, Adam Bogdan.
Yeah.
Either of those.
Yeah.
Either of those in goal, absolutely.
Konchesky.
Yes, yeah. In fact, the 2010 Ryerson team just lash them all in. Like Joe Cole, he's getting in there. Jovanovic, he's getting in there. I was gonna say Voronin, but you know what? I had a little bit of a soft spot for Voronin, even though he was shit.
Torben Picnic.
Yeah, no, Kvarma gets in. He does my head in.
Nicky Tanner.
No, you know what? Like we can talk about the ones who were just not great good footballers. Let's talk about the ones who are supposedly good footballers but actually shit for Liverpool. So I'm throwing Neil Ruddock in there.
Dix.
Julian Dix. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like we should do a team of players who have been decent for other teams but were shit for Liverpool. So yeah, you put Joe Cole. I mean, Joe Cole's captain of that team, absolutely. Yeah, Dix, Ruddock,
Sahin.
Nuri Sahin, yeah, like an absolute myth of a footballer when he played for Liverpool.
Getting a load of shouts in the comments now. Bernard Diamede, Sean Dundee. Sean Dundee's definitely in the former idea. He also asked if I got me Lancashire crisps from Booth's Bearscow. I didn't, mate, but I've been dreaming about them.
Is that not concerning? You're dreaming about crisps.
Well, I'm trying to eat healthier, so I'm cutting down on snacks and stuff, and then it's like
that makes it even worse.
Oh, them Boss crisps. He had them Lancashire ones. I want them again. Morientes, definitely.
Yes. Oh my lord, yeah.
I couldn't stand them at Liverpool because he was just such a disappointment for me. You know what I mean?
Harry Kewell.
Yeah,
he gets in as well.
Cisse.
Oh yeah, I know. I gave Cisse so much rope, and there was flashes of brilliance.
Who do you think is worse at not understanding offside? Cisse or Nunes?
Fucking hell. That's one hell of a conversation. That's a battle to the death.
Yeah, put that one to the vote. The crisp was just that Worcester sauce crisp randomly went on sale, and loads of people turned up from all over the show to buy them because they're discontinued. They were jibbed 2 years ago, but loads of people just turned up at the Condiment Home City to take advantage of a limited supply. And one person interviewed said, I would travel the globe for a packet of crisps.
Right.
I mean, I've just said, like, now that he's reminded me in the comments about that Booths in Bearscow does have those crisps, I'm probably gonna go back via there one day soon. In fact, if I go to Edgehill Uni soon. Oh,
there we go. Now having it in the back of your mind as something you want to do at some point, I got no issue with that. Queuing up.
Literally outside like this shop in Worcester.
Oh my God.
To get this discontinued flavour. Mind you, but if Brannigan's ham and mustard, was it ham and mustard?
Yeah,
if they
roast beef and mustard.
Sorry, yeah, that's it. If they went back on sale, I might.
Okay, how's this? If someone found like they overtook an old shop and they found in the basement a box of those crisps, would you eat them? Like used by date unknown. Would you eat them?
I'd try one. Yeah. Just on the off chance it was going to be all right. I read a thing the other day about like, there's a generational thing now where like the younger generation will just lash stuff on the basis of used by dates and all that, whereas older generation do the sniff test,
yes,
or even the taste test.
Yeah,
I had some really hard beans, and I had fuck all else in.
I don't like where this is going.
I think I'd inherited them from me late nan.
Oh no!
And I thought, be all right. They weren't all right.
No. So there are certain foods you're more likely to give it a go with. There are some things you should just never try. So fish, chicken, milk, those ones, if you think they might be gone, they're gone. Let them go. Do you ever do the egg test?
Where you floater?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure about it, though.
No, it's foolproof. Genuinely, every single time that an egg is past that egg test, it's all right. You've got to kind of convince yourself in your mind that it's all right, but it's all right. I've never had any bad experience. One thing I wouldn't do is if it's failed, then I'm not. No, absolutely not. If you don't know what the egg test is, it's basically you get a pint of water and you put the egg in it, and if it floats, it's safe to eat. If it sinks to the bottom, lash that shit away.
On that bombshell. On that bombshell, I think we'll leave it there. It's late at night.
I'm starving.
Mo's starving, and he's still on about making more videos. And yeah, we've done 2 shows. It was a bit random, that one. The footy schedule's kind of done for us a little bit, but hopefully there was some form of entertainment in there for you. So thank you for watching, listening. If it's the first time you've come in, try some of the other ones. If you're on the trial and all that, we're not always this mad.
I know, I think we are, mate.
Okay, we maybe are then.
But that's the point.
That's the point. This is what it is.
You're apologising for this is our USP. This is what we want. Stu
Wright said to me in the pub at the weekend, "You are a massive overthinker, mate." Yeah. And he is right.
Yes, he is.
We shall leave it there. See you next week. Hopefully we're seeing you after a great week for the Reds.
I'll see you in April.
Oh yeah, Mo's not in next week. Guess who's coming back?